Welcome everybody to the Div D podcast calling the Audible. I'm your host, as usual, Simon Ajne. This week I'm not.
You are usually Simon.
Yes, I am usually Simon Ajne. This week I'm not joined in by the untrustworthy Terry Tam because he's untrustworthy.
That's true.
But by the next call up, not as talented, not as good looking,
Well,
and doesn't love poutine as much. Peas de la
also,
Rocca.
both are debatable.
You love poutine?
Terry Tam looks like Fred Flintstone if you look at the Flintstones candies. By that I mean vitamins. They're not candies. Don't eat all the candies.
No, not candies. Don't go there. So this week we'll have our usual.
Don't say next segment.
I did not.
Cool.
I was
just reading your
saying
script.
what we're gonna have this week, and so this week we'll talk about football. Hopefully, at some point, we'll also have a conversation about sandwiches, and we'll discuss our previews. But before that, we'll have our Sports Hero best dressed moment of the week. Peas, what's your best moment of the week?
I don't like talking about my team a bunch, but this was awesome, and I had to mention it. So playing for Brunch Buddies this week was
Nope.
Oh, sorry, no. This is in the Supply Command game.
Yes,
play for both
because it's Div D. We
Yeah.
don't mind. We
You're
don't care
right.
about the other divisions.
So let me focus. So in our Division D game for Supply and Command, Jawan Edgehill, call up from FPF Junior, standout player from FPF Junior, has been playing so well in FPF so far. Lined up, and Gapoisson from Fuzzy Kittens lines up across from him. First play. Before the first play happens, he says to Jawan, "Isn't this past your bedtime?" And then Jawan proceeds to burn him on a post for a touchdown on the first play. So if it was past his bedtime, he was clearly not sleepy.
Obviously not.
Yeah.
There was
So
a terrible
unfortunately-
ending to a story.
Yeah, it
Great
was a terrible
story.
ending. Unfortunately, later in the game, Jawan went up for a
We
ball.
do not have to discuss that.
Well,
It's not
I
Mary.
do want to discuss it because Jawan went up for a ball. There was some contact. Gapoisson ended up catching his knee to the face, broke his nose. I want to wish Gab speedy recovery. It's a pleasure to see you on the field, and it's definitely not as fun to see you off the field. So hopefully you get well soon, bud.
Speaking of a speedy recovery, we'll jump in right away to the highlights of the week. I caught some of the games on that we'll be discussing this week, and I have I'm just lost at the
So
moment. I'm
much
just
stalling.
rambling.
Would you
I'm just
perhaps talk
rambling
about 5-star and how they barely made it out alive as Moses played QB?
Yes.
Let's
No,
talk about that.
that was not the point of this discussion, but I was
Right.
about to start with the get on deck win, the get on deck loss, where we hope they get a speedy recovery because putting up 0 points against Alpha Tees is pretty embarrassing.
It's pretty rough. That said, I mean, Original Cafe so far has 1 touchdown for 7 interceptions for Get on Deck. So I don't think is the solution at quarterback. If he is to be moving forward, then he needs to get help coaching. He needs some help in calling plays because it's not working out for him.
They need straight up. I believe they need straight up. Last season they had 18 players. They chopped it down
Wasn't
to
enough.
what was it,
12.
10, 11, 12? It's better.
They shut it down to too many.
They took out the special teams unit, and now they're left with. It just feels like their unit is incohesive. Speaking of incohesive, this week we played Fuzzy Kittens. By we mean Supply and Command because it's our team.
Yes.
Shout out to their quarterback, Jardin, who played well. I must say, he played well.
Yeah.
Yes. You don't have to look at me like that. He did play well.
He did.
Not because you didn't win.
You didn't say the full
means you
name.
didn't- Jardin Robert Chartrand, I believe.
There we go.
I'm not even looking at the script. I'm just doing this by what I remember.
His name makes me think of the color chartreuse.
Why? Because your French is terrible?
No, because it's similarly spelled.
Okay. Anyways, for the Kittens, the flaw in their team was their defense this week. Their
I gonna
offense was
say,
good.
Like, summing up this game is Supply and Command's defense looked a lot better,
Well, yes.
which we expected, and then Fuzzy Kitten's defense looks like a mess. They have a lot of talent, but
Yeah.
unless they fix the disastrous play calling and guys missing assignments, that team is not going to do well.
We've been calling out Jardin a bit in the past season, saying he wasn't up to part of the division, but he played really well against us. He wasn't the problem. The defense
His
really
play
was
calling was awesome.
Yeah.
He called so many rub plays and quick
so many good
slants and-
slants and drags and crosses that it was tough to cover, and he worked really well for
Yeah.
them. So their offense is on point, but they need to fix their defense. Also need to fix their defense. Bromigos allowed 40 points against
They're
Get
getting
Off My
better
D.
at these transitions.
I know, right? I'm really working on it. They allowed 40 points against Get Off My D, where Jada Reedy blew him for 163 yards receiving. Yes, there's terrible.
He blew him.
I would say blew past, but
There we go.
technically,
Woo!
I-
Blue man group right there.
but yeah, I don't know. If you're playing against Jad, at some point you need to take into consideration the guy is literally running all over your team. At some point, he has 100 yards, and you still didn't cover him since he went for 163 yards.
True. To me, though, I mean, I want to focus on I want to focus on Bromigos because I've talked so much trash about them for the last 2 seasons.
Fair.
Look, they put up 30 points. You know what? If this is the kind of game that would favor Get Off My D because they score a lot, but it is still positive to see Bromigos starting to get points on the board. Because
Finally put up more than 12, 18 yards. Now they're putting up 33. If they could keep putting up 33 and have their full roster back, because they're missing a lot of guys this week. If they could have the full roster back, I'm assuming defense will come along. And if they can keep putting up 33 points and no picks from Patrick Larose, they might actually get W's this time around.
Agreed.
Talking about picking up the trash, Frosty Bronson's got destroyed by Gators. And by destroyed, I mean when you throw 3 pick sixes, you do not win football games.
No, but a lot of this has to do with Gators. What Gators do on defense, and I'll talk about this now. And we'll touch on it a bit later in the show as well. They master looks so well. Eddie Martinez is such a good and tall, flat defender. He takes away so many looks that if you're not a quarterback who's comfortable throwing intermediate to deep routes, you're going to struggle against Gators, and that's what we saw with James Nowakowski, and that's why he threw the 4 interceptions.
Tell me a little bit about that game, Hot Boys Hotline win without Eagle.
Well, that makes them better. But they're a team that can do that. Like you know, if I can steal from the Simone's book of like football truisms that don't mean anything.
Truisms, okay.
They're a team that you need to step on their necks while you have them down.
Fair.
Because
I like
the thing is that if you let them hang around, they're smart enough to find the matchups and expose them. So, like, if they can just stay in the game and then late in the game pick on a key matchup to win the game, that's when they're most successful. If you get to them early, they don't adjust that well. So this is the exact kind of game that Hot Boys Hotline will typically win against Weapon X, and that's exactly what
grab the lead early and just hang on.
Yeah. And instead, if Weapon X would have got out to an early lead, you could see the opposite effect.
So Hot Boys Hotline were lost if they can. So basically, they should always start on offense.
Yeah, and like, if you start on defense, you do something to avoid a score early, or like if you start on
so
defense,
basically just play defense.
One of the first 3 drives, you need to make a stop. But it's key for them because some teams can come back in second half and turn the game around. They can't.
You're saying defense needs to avoid a score, so basically play defense.
Ish.
You're just being me right now.
Yeah.
Which is not.
Although I'm going more in depth. I mean, I know you don't understand. There's a lack of intellect on your level, but it's okay.
And
the listeners, we have the smartest audience in Div D.
Do we?
Absolutely, by far.
If they watch this podcast, it's smarter because they watch me.
Yeah, you're making them dumber to listening to you. But
no, it's called entertainment.
Fair.
And our final highlight of the week, I have to give a shout out to Gamecocks, whose offense was Gamecocks.
He said game.
Their offense was absolutely fire against Longhorns. Listen, if you go for 2 every...
be fire for the most part. Actually, people are fire retardant.
You really
I said retardant.
I know.
Just be careful.
I read the script. You had to say it. You had to.
It was there for a reason.
I know. But yeah, they went for 2 most of their possessions, most of their scores. I saw at least 3 times where the QB just threw at the defender, tipped into the receiver's hands for 2 points. Not on touchdowns, but literally on converts. So it doesn't really matter on converts. They could go for it. If you're about to get sacked, just throw the football.
Yeah, but you don't get points by not throwing the ball.
But Prison was absolutely on fire that night.
Oh, he was on fire. Okay, cool.
Literally on fire. Like you could see it. You could see the flames.
Nice.
But he was unstoppable. He threw 7 touchdowns.
More Ghost Rider or more Human Torch?
Most Ghost Rider.
Okay.
Because he was
honestly, his ability to throw cross-body from different platforms on the move, super impressive.
Yeah.
Especially given teams like Longhorns that won't play a lot of man, that will play zone. That's a weapon because he will change throwing windows by his ability to throw in different parts of the pocket.
Speaking of pockets, we'll switch to pizza pockets. In our next segment, we talk about sandwiches, my favorite meal of all times. Yes, don't look at me like that. We're not doing random observations just yet. We're switching to sandwiches. Cool. So, for our random topic of the week, we'll be speaking of sandwiches. Please, there's 6 subdivisions in Div D, in this division. Please give me a sandwich type for every division and why.
Why don't you give me the subdivision and then I'll give you the sandwich and I'll break it down by parts.
So Conference A East.
So if we go to Conference A East,
just buying time.
Well, yeah, because I got to load the page up.
You could have told me, Simone, please buy time. But okay.
If we go to Prestige Worldwide, Fuzzy Kittens, Weapon X, this is what I want you to do. Tell me the teams in the division. So
you have the iPad. And you didn't want me to borrow it.
Junkyard Dogs, Les Indices, and Longhorns. I gotta say, this sandwich to me is a Monte Cristo because it's basically a fancy ham sandwich. Because you have some awesome parts. You have the cheese in Prestige Worldwide. You have the fuzzy kittens in ham. And then a whole lot of wasted carbs in the division because we haven't seen much from Weapon X. We haven't seen much from Junkyard Dogs.
What do you mean wasted carbs, though?
Well, because these teams might be delicious, but they're not adding much to the sandwich.
Okay. I see what you did there.
It's a fancy name
I see what you did
for a very simple sandwich.
Well, I love ham sandwiches.
I do too.
So that's why, like, when you
Ham
start
sandwich
trashing ham
might also
sandwiches...
be in my list, by the way, but this is Monte Cristo sandwich.
Okay. Go
I
on.
do work in a coloring institute after all, so it's
No one
important.
cares.
I care.
No one cares what you do outside of the show. We don't want to know, honestly. This audience wants to talk about Div D football.
Cool. If only you were talking about football at this moment.
We're talking about sandwiches.
We are.
Go on. Do you want me to read the list for you?
Who's
For
next, Timo?
Conference A West.
Conference A West,
I
not
hope
South?
I hope there's one.
There's actually not. There's South and Central. Which one do you want?
South.
If we look at the South, we have Magic City Gators, Zoo, All Blacks, all at 1-1, while the Pandas and Sticky Hands are both at 0-2. Honestly, this is a well-balanced sandwich. This is an American cheeseburger.
Because Sticky Hands should be at least 1-1, maybe 2-0 at this point. They lost very close games.
Absolutely. But so the thing is that we have, some core ingredients here. You have cheese, you have bacon, you have
bacon.
a patty, you have lettuce. Which is, again, more towards Sticky Hands because they should be performing better, but they can't. But we have, there's so many good parts to this. It's the American cheeseburger, but I will say that the American cheeseburger has sort of fallen off the cliff in recent ages. I think it has to do with pandas because the name Pandas is the most cursed name in FPF history.
Because of Punch Panda?
Ranging from Punch Panda back in the day.
Because of you?
Yeah, I cursed the name forever.
Okay.
Sorry, guys, you're going 0-10.
Sorry, no.
It's a curse.
Sorry, not happening.
9-1.
You may go 0-9-1. You're permitted.
There might be a tie, but you're not winning a football game.
No.
Conference A Central.
If I look at
Who named these conferences?
Robert Campana.
Why didn't we go with A, East, West, North as usual? No. We had to go
because
with
there's
Central.
only 3, so you're losing a
Doesn't
cardinal
matter.
point.
I forgot. Doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Done.
And by cardinal point, I'm referring to a compass and not the penis of a clergy member.
Why? Why did you have to say that?
I just want to be clear in case I was offending anyone.
Why did you
I
have
didn't
to
want
say
to
that?
offend any
You
Catholic.
just offended a lot of people right now.
When I look at this division, this is a Reuben sandwich because we have Les Affluents on top, but really the meat is right in the middle. It's the thick of it. It's what we got. We have Alphatees, Ghosts, and Tamasayan.
You could see Chapman salivating from here.
Yeah, I know he's hungry.
He's like, oh man, these sandwiches.
Honestly, this is the Reuben sandwich. This is. I think you know what we know who the top and who the bottom are right now, but I think the exciting action is going to happen in the middle of the sandwich.
Fair. That's
Also the heart attack.
That's how I like my sandwiches in the middle.
No, but especially a thick Reuben sandwich, lots of smoked meat in the middle.
That's the best.
That's what we're talking about.
You don't take a smoked meat sandwich to have like 2 slices of smoked meat. It's a waste.
Yeah.
You're stuck eating bread.
Yeah.
And maybe mustard.
Exactly. Maybe if you're lucky. So now I guess we'll go to Conference B West.
Yes. Sorry.
B has West. A does not have a West.
Interesting. Who names these conferences?
I didn't realize that until just now.
Neither did I. I wasn't even reading. I was just naming random point out to know.
This one here is a chicken wrap because it's ultimately a very boring conference.
Oh,
the teams.
Shots
no,
called.
Look, the teams
Shots
on top
fired.
are
Just boring.
The teams on top are solid teams. Justice League, St. Lunatics, Backyard Bullies.
Okay.
But they're not particularly interesting teams, which doesn't mean they won't be successful. They're just sort of grinding, sort of
Defense first kind of teams.
Defense first.
Backyard Bullies this season have been an
Bulls-
offensively driven team
But this,
for the first time in a very long time.
yes, but I'm saying historically, like that could be
Yes,
an outlier
okay.
because that's only 2 games.
But they did switch quarterbacks.
They did.
So we might see
So
something new.
Prove me wrong. Put some bacon in that chicken wrap, and then there we go. You might be the bacon in the chicken wrap.
Drop some.
That is Conference B West.
Drop some Caesar mayo in there.
Caesar mayo.
It's better than just plain mayo.
I can see it.
So Conference B, East, Central, whatever's left.
Let's go north.
Why?
Conference B North. Honestly, I look here and we see Blue Devils, Hot Boys Hotline, 5-Star, Gamecocks, Supply and Command, more money, less TDs.
Man, this is top heavy.
What would you say is the most unpredictable sandwich, Simo?
The most unpredictable sandwich?
Like it might be amazing or it might give you food poisoning.
Anything that has fish in it.
Like a... Really? Oh, like this is the fish taco conference.
There we go.
Fish tacos.
Fish taco.
I'll tell you what. Because honestly, best case, we have beautifully nice seasoned tuna. Crispy. Nice sort of like seasoned mayo and all that.
And everybody loves fish tacos, right?
You gotta be out of your mind.
If they're really good,
absolutely,
they're amazing.
Now,
but
they could be
75% of the time, they're horrible.
Everyone loves the idea of a fish taco. And that's what I see here, because I see a lot of teams playing out of their minds so far. Blue Devils, Hot Boys Hotline, 5-star, Gamecocks, all 2-0. No one predicted that coming into the season. We have a Divi team in there, 5-star changing quarterbacks, and going with 2 different quarterbacks to start. Blue Devils struggled with 5. Hot Boys Hotline, who have Eagle, and like...
So and basically, Gianfranco and Eagle haven't lost yet.
Exactly. and then we have Supply and Command, a team that made the playoffs last season. More money, less TDs.
We're in that conference?
Roster. Yeah, absolutely. You should know that. We're in fish tacos.
Oh, God damn.
So the thing is that I figure this is the way I see this division. Either the champion will come from this division, or no one will make it out of the first round from this division. Like,
so either we crash and burn, or we go all the way.
Yeah, exactly.
I love it.
Exactly. And that leaves us with Conference B Central, because if you gotta be Central.
That's not bad. I was expecting better from you. But okay.
I was buying time, Simo. On this conference, we have 2.5 dabs. We have Get Off My D, Sabre FC coming up from Division 6, Friends in Low Places, as well as Get On Deck. And when I look at this, you know what? This to me is a quintessential BLT sandwich. It has everything you want in a good sandwich. You have crusty bread, bacon, lettuce, tomato. I don't like tomato, so I don't like this conference.
You don't like tomatoes?
No. Kind of soggy. It's a ruiner of sandwich.
Can you please leave?
It's the ruiner of sandwich.
Can you just...
Chapman, tell us how tomatoes ruin sandwiches.
They make them soggy.
Whoa! Chapman's poke?
You got to get him where he lives, man.
You have to speak about sandwiches to get Chapman involved. By the way, speaking of Chapman...
His Twitter handle is...
You could tweet us at Silent and Mysterious Chapman for the tweet life, but we don't even check our phones, so it's pointless. Or you could tweet us about the show at Dajna FPF or P's FPF. You could also tweet Eagle, who's watching this, at Eagle FPF.
He's actually on a plane right now.
He's going to comment anyways. He's going to figure a way.
Guys, I spent $700 watching the throw.
He bitches about it, but he still watches it. So you have about 45 seconds for your random observations this week, because we're running short on time.
We're always running short on time. So, Simo, I have some top
I said 45
observations here. We have 12 quarterbacks averaging 2 interceptions per game or more.
That's a lot.
There's
faces, also 34 teams.
Familiar faces on that list, though, is Alex Godet, Matt Damo, Ian Einiber. So guys with a lot of experience throwing interceptions in Division D.
Nah, it's just a fluke.
Divisions seem unbalanced. We have A East, 4 teams at 0-2. A South has 4 teams at 1-1. B the North has...
B the North, that's awesome.
See what I did there? Has 4 teams at 2-0. So a lot of disparity early on. I think it'll settle. Jeff Rosenblatt looks like he took way too long to pretend his hair just fell into place for his FPF pick.
Definitely did. I saw him.
He is the I scam legend for the week. And finally,
awesome.
Canadian officials address the rise in Lyme disease, and they say it's it's been spread by infected ticks. Amazing. After all this time, all those divisions, unbalanced.
Speaking of unbalance, we'll move right into our previews, because this was a terrible observation.
That was an amazing observation. Dude, I'm seeing people from Lyme disease.
Yes.
You know Lyme disease?
Obviously, it's beautiful. So our first preview of the week will be 2.5 dabs against Les Affreux. Both teams are 2-0. I haven't lost yet. 2.5 dabs with an awesome name. I know you disagree, but hey. They're off to a pretty good start.
What you do is you overreact to current trends. I'm sure you still go to family reunions and be like, what's up? You're that guy. You're that guy who says it 12 years late.
Well, I'm French, so I say coucou instead, but yes, I do
that. Coucou!
No. Anyways, 2.5 dabs. Eric Majorino, or however you say his name, I'm not 100% sure.
Majorino?
Majorino?
There we go.
Awesome. Has been playing really well.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe some would say better than Joey Taylor, but that's irrelevant right now.
Some would. I wouldn't. Posted several seasons with 50-plus touchdowns.
I said right now. Literally, like at this moment of the season. We're not speaking of the past, P's. We live in the present. against Les Affreux, who have a very good defense, but their offense has been struggling. 3 picks last week, 2 the week before. Domas him into off start. What do you think about this matchup?
First of all, I think McPhee's speed will be a problem for Damon. He's not as mobile as he used to be.
Agreed.
And he's struggled so far. So I think that defense will give him a hard time. That said, Les Affreux, you talk about their defense. They're a good system D, but they lack playmaking, and they'll struggle against a team that does a lot of ad-libbing, which we learned last season Chapman can't do. But this team does a lot of ad-libbing on the field, and I think Les Affreux will be furious at the result.
Nice try, but that's not really what it meant.
I know. What it meant?
What it meant. That's
we just failed in language.
We're not really good at English. So what's your prediction here? How does this break down?
It breaks down in Les Affreux will keep up early on, and then 2.5 Dabs will take off late in the game, and they'll win it by 8 points, but we don't really know anything, so we're just pretending.
No, we know absolute. We know everything. Speaking of knowing everything,
0%.
All Blacks against Justice League. Justice League hasn't lost it, although they've been keeping it really close. All Black are 1-1 after Lapointe's amazing performance.
The script, though, the show would be easier. Like if you just did the things you said.
Yes, but it's also a lot more fun for me to watch you scramble around and look for a script.
Go up and down with my finger.
Lapointe had 7 touchdowns, 3 picks last
Lapointe?
season. Anthony Lapointe, the
go.
quarterback of All Blacks,
Cool.
the team we're talking about.
Because
you're not the host here.
Right.
At 7 touchdowns, 3 picks. How many times do you get to touch a football as a quarterback in Div D? You have 10 drives.
It's possible because there's a lot of turnovers, a lot of turnover on downs. Teams.
He did score 7 times though.
Yeah.
So
missed tackles. There's all sorts of stuff that can happen in Div D.
Okay. Anyways,
the games in Div D seem to take 3 hours.
That's
like
not
even,
nice.
But even the game we played, like it seemed like it was just a long game.
It felt it did
and
feel
unnaturally long.
More bang for your buck.
It's all about banging and bucks.
It's all about bucks.
When hiring a professional, for example, you want more bangs.
Animals, bucks.
For your bucks.
So what does Justice League need to do to win this game?
They can't give any extra possessions. Justice League will need to force interceptions and control the pace. If they make it a slow, grinding game, it plays into their favor.
And what does All Black need to do to win? Please don't say the exact opposite.
Because that's what the question is. Is what does blue need to do? Not be red. What does red need to do? Be red.
Sorry if I thought you would be relevant and intelligent.
No, I am. It's just your question is dumb.
Okay, prediction. How does this break down? Score.
Again, it's all random, so I say All Blacks put up a good fight, but the difference is in converts, and Justice League wins by 2.
2. So another close game for Justice League. And
yeah, that's what they're gonna do all season. They're only gonna win the games that way. They're gonna be like 6-4 with a plus minus of -51. Because when they lose, they get blown out, and when they win, they're gonna
6-4 with a minus of 61.
Yeah.
If it ends that way, they owe you a beer.
Right.
And by they,
Justice
I mean
League?
Justice League, because we know half that team anyways.
Go for a drink, baby. It'll be good. It'll be fun.
So final thoughts, please.
I am an attractive man.
Irrelevant. Final thoughts, Chapman.
Jawbreakers at Lichine are awesome.
25 cents for Jawbreakers.
No human man has ever been that excited about Jawbreakers.
Best field ever.
Yes. It's a game changer, really. I would love to see half.
I literally haven't had a Jawbreaker for 25 years.
Well, maybe
that's
you
exactly
should.
why you're not excited about Jawbreakers.
No.
You haven't had one recently. You should have seen Ryan Reedy try to bite one off. He bought one. It's like, I thought it was a gum.
You're weirdly aroused by this.
Then he's like, I'm
Both
not a
of us.
patient. I'm not a patient man. He just tried to chew off the Jawbreaker and then he fell. Then he realized what a Jawbreaker was, and it was
It breaks your jaw.
insanely.
I mean, it's in the name. Like you shouldn't be disappointed, Ryan Reedy. I'm disappointed in you.
So, anyhow,
Don't come around anymore.
thank you,
Don't buy
Peace, for
Jawbreakers.
subbing in for Terry Tam.
No worries.
Thank you for speaking about sandwiches.
I love sandwiches.
We all do. Thank you, Chapman, for producing this show somehow.
Somehow.
I'll pull a James Flo and say thank you myself.
James Flo.
Why do people? Why did anybody do that? Thank yourself.
That was my thing.
I'm here. I should thank you for letting me host the show, or thank Rob for letting me host the show instead of thanking myself.
Thank you for not firing me.
Thank you for not firing me yet.
It's coming. Christmas.
I
I mean, it's Christmas for the rest of us.
And since Terry's not here, all I'll do is official sign off for him. Salut la visite.